as you aware that see this is the first this is the fifth webinar in series. We are going to conduct one another webinar in mid of November. Uh, so the first session is on research data management. I'm going to take the session on research data management. In this webinar, mastering data management plans, ensuring accessibility, reuse. To cover all these topics, including that research data management, what is research data management plan, what is research data management life cycle, importance of RDM, then verification of research data, then research, what is RDR, that is research data repository. Then what should be the characteristics of research data repository, IR and DR's difference quickly. It's a minor difference, but although I will cover. Then registry of research data repository, that is RE3 data repository, wherein you can find the repositories available across the world and for all the disciplines. Starting with what is research data? What is research data? So the research data is basically a data collected, observed, and created for the purpose of analysis to produce the original research data. And you know that for generating the research data, you need different processes, because it is for different purposes, and it can be divided into different categories. Like say for tourism data, for educational data, for industrial data, different techniques needed to generate the data, and each category may require a different type of treatment. For that, see, there are various methods to collect the data. That is what we are going to cover in types of research data. So first one is observational method, observational data, in which the data is being generated real time, like say survey data or sensor data. The data generated through observational method, these are basically irreplaceable because it is real time data. Another is experimental data. Basically, the data generated in lab through the lab experiment, it is basically replaceable. It can be generated again, and the examples of like experimental data are chromatograms, gene sequences, toroid magnetic field data, then simulation data, which are generated through some models, like researchers or government, they are preparing models, they are inputting some data and generating some output data. And in this part, rather than that input and output data, the models are very important. So to create a proper model, they are entering junks data or any kind of data and producing the output data so that they can get the proper model. Then derived or compiled data, in which the people are deriving the data from some existing data source, or say from the cleaned data source, or the data source which are already available, but large data sets. And another thing, the raw data is available, and from that they are deriving the data. Then another method is reference or canonical data, in which clean data sets are available, like say gene sequence banks, data banks, chemical structures. So from that, some portion of the data they are extracting, and then they are doing the research on that. Now coming to the classification of research data. Now research data is classified in many 6 major things. One is method, which we have already seen. Key data is being generated through experimental, observational, simulation, derived or compiled data. Then there are various formats in which the data is being stored, like say spreadsheets, databases, images, maps, audio files, structured and unstructured files. The content can be numerical, textual, audiovisual, or images, or anything. Then the type of research data, it may be digital or non-digital, like say paper survey and all. Source may be primary or secondary, and as I told you, raw or processed data. Raw data means which are collected or created and which are not processed. Like say nothing is applied on that, just they have entered the data in Excel or some digital format data. Right now, the next is open data. Now coming to the open data, earlier it is about research data. Now, whether the data is available in open access, we can say that open. No, when the data is available to open, free to use, reuse and redistribute without any legal, technological and social restriction, then and then we can say the data is open, and the open data should be machine readable and it should be easily accessible to anyone. Open data is benefiting the open science movement in number of ways. Just for an example, we have taken duplicate collection of data across organization. Already generated data, if another person is doing the same thing, then waste of money and time and effort also. So that should not, so that is the benefit of open data. Now, what is open science? Because open science basically referring to the scientific activities in which that scientific research data and the findings, the final outcomes, outputs is being accessible to the everyone through data sharing and collaboration without any restriction. Restriction should not be there when we say it is open. For that, Plan S comes into the picture, making full and immediate open access a reality. Plan S is the initiative for open access science publishing, which was launched in 2018 by Coalition S. And it's what is Coalition S? It's a consortium of national research agencies and funders from European countries. 12 European countries gathered, and they created a Plan S for keeping the things in open access. Plan This plan requires all the researchers and scientists who did the research from the state-funded research organization or institution to publish their research work on open access repository or journals, and it should be done by 2021. Its key principle is also available in which it states that with effect from 2021, all scholarly publications on the result from research funded by public and private grants provided by national, regional, and international research councils and funding bodies must be published in open access journals, open access platforms, and it should be made available through the open access repositories without any embargo period, which with effect from 2021 means now it is available to all. And this plan was structured around 10 principles. Now, somebody might have a question like, when we are keeping the things in open, then what copywriting ka issue, yeah, somebody can steal the work and all the things. So they have considered all these things. The 10 principles of Plan S, in which the first one is author should retain that the copyright on their publications, which must be published under an open science license such as Creative Commons CC, CC by SA, CC by NC, CC by ND. And then another is member of the coalition or say funder should establish robust criteria for requirement for compliant open access journals and platforms. And funders should also provide the incentives for creation of this kind of activities, this kind of journals or platforms if it is not available to the public. And there should not be a fee, or the fee should be covered by the funders or the university, not from the individual researchers. And the fees, such publication fees should be standardized and capped. Another thing is universities, research organization and libraries should align their policies and strategies. For books and monographs, they have extended the timeline beyond that 2021. hybrid open access journals which are open and closed. You can say few journals or articles are not available in open, so they are not compliant with this key principle. Members should monitor compliance and sanction the non-compliant beneficiary. Open access archives and repositories are acknowledged for their importance. Now, this was about European countries. In India, we have one policy. In 2012, India initiated one NDSAP policy, that is National Data Sharing and Accessibility Policy, to share the non-sensitive data which are available in digital and analog form and generated using the government institutions, like say ministries, department, organization, subordinate offices, agencies like that. And the reason behind this is to promote the data sharing, enable access to the government of India owned data for national planning, development, and awareness. So in India, we have that NDSAP policy to share the non-sensitive data. Hope you are aware about data.gov.in. Now, what is open research data? Earlier, we have seen research data, then open data. And now, what is open research data? Basically, it is open scientific data or open research data, both are same. That is type of data focused on publishing observation and results of scientific activities available for anyone to analyze and reuse. It is, see, once the data is available, then somebody can verify the claim. So it is for it is to allow the verification of scientific claim by the others, and it is to allow to collaborate or to attach the other source, and they can generate the new knowledge. They can do many things with that. So with that, it comes into the picture the benefits of the open data. Now, there are many benefits. When the data is available in open, then anyone can use that data. They can verify its finding, and if the result findings was proper, then it will build the trust in the government or institutions or even individuals who have. It will build the trust between the institutions, organization, and individuals. It will also help in innovation. If the data is accessible, which encourages the innovation, accessible data encourages the innovation by enabling individual researchers to develop a new product from existing data, services, and solutions. It will also help in economic growth by creating opportunities for entrepreneur and driving efficiency in the public and private sectors. It will also be the when the data is available in open access. So the government, if the government or organization has uh, created that data, then those will be those entities will be accountable for their actions and decisions. And collaborations, when the data is available in open, then other individuals or government or anyone can collaborate with the data, and it will uh, create a new solutions. It will also create a solution for the complex problem. It will also empowers the citizens by giving them tools and information they need to participate in civic processes. Uh, then researchers and analysts, as I already told you, they can uh, use the open data. They can do further studies. They can analyze the trends and generate the insights over various fields like healthcare, education, tourism, environment, and all. It will also help in improving the public sector services. So this is what all about the open, the benefit of open data, which will bring the transparency, innovation, economic growth, accountability, collaboration, empowerment, research analysis, and public service improvement. Now coming to the research data management is the organization, documentation is the process, basically process, organization, documentation, storage and preservation of data resulting from the research process, where the data can be broadly defined as the outcome of experiments and observations that validate the research findings. So this is what research data management. It can take a variety of forms, including numerical outputs, see quantitative and qualitative data. It also contains images, audio, video. Now coming to the RDM life cycle. What is research data management life cycle? So it see anyhow this will be covered in the next session under data management plan. Although I will brief you here about these things, which contains that it includes that RDM includes choosing a file format, file organization, and naming convention. It also contains the version control mechanism, documenting all the files, all the projects, then access control of each and every files, backup, how the backup should be done, where it will be preserved or stored, then files to format conversion, choose the file format which is easily convertible to another format, or choose some open access kind of format, and sharing and preservation. And in this research data life cycle starts with the research question, where the first thing is to search the data whether it is available or not, then comes to the management plan, then go for collection, analysis, then if it further data is required, then recollect the data. Once it is done, go for archiving and then publishing the results. I'm going to the further step, importance of RDM. Now, why research data management is important? So, first thing is quality assurance. It ensures the accuracy, reliability, and completeness of research data for drawing valid conclusions and making informed decisions. It also allows the researchers to reproduce the result findings which are already there, and it will also build the trust. As I already told you, it will enhance the credibility and trustworthiness in the researchers or in new institutions or government. Once the proper data management plan is used, and then it is complied to the standards and regulations of the institutions or funders or the governments. So it ensures that the research data are handled ethically, respecting the rights and privacy of the participants with legal and institutional requirement. Efficient data retrieval and analysis. Proper data management plan, if it is done, then the data will be easier to find, access, and analyze, which saves the time, resources, by enabling researchers to focus on data interpretation and knowledge generation. It also helps in security part and protections. Proper authorization was given, so unauthorized access can be blocked. Then facilitating collaborations. Proper data management plan has each and every guideline to for all the data, for all the fields, which will help in collaborate with the other research team, and it will generate the output. Long-term preservation and access. See, this part will also be covered in data management plan. So I'm moving further. It will also help in long-term preservation and access. Coming to the verification of process, verification of research data. It is basically process of making research data findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. This has gained prominence in scientific community as a means to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of research data management and sharing. Now, FAIR means FAIR, that is findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. Findable means what? It should be easy to find by the humans as well as computers. That means uh, it should the data set should has that persistent identifier or DOIs, and proper metadata should be assigned or given and described in a way that the data should be indexed properly. Then once the data is findable, it should be easily accessible, which means the proper guideline and permission is given how to access the data and how to use that data. So accessibility means accessing the data as well as the using the data. The proper instruction should be given there and proper access rights should be given to that data. Interoperable means the data should be in a such a format so that it can be converted to another format, just like say TSV format, tab separated value format. It can be easily converted to CSV, other comma separated, or say Excel file or some other file format. So like that, the format should be used so that data should be easily integrated with the other formats, sorry, converted to other formats, and proper documentation should be given on that, and it should be easily reusable. It is related to licensing requirement. So license should allow to reuse the data for another purpose. Now, coming to the research data repository, this is up to this. We covered that research data management, research data, open data, research data management, and now once the data we have managed and we have created, then where to host our data, where to keep our data. So for that, research data repository comes into the picture. Now, what is research data repository? It's basically a data library or data archive wherein you can host your or store your data sets. All your data sets, all your research works can be hosted on this platform, research data repository, a unified data management platform used to store and manage the data set from disparate sources. And using this RDR, you can share the data, you can analyze the data, and repurpose the data. Then now what should be the desirable characteristic of research data repository? As an institute nowadays in India, where very less RDRs are there, research data repositories are there. If somebody is building the research data repository, then what should be the characteristics of research data repository? So the characteristics are divided basically into three parts, that is organizational infrastructure, digital object management, and technology. Under this organizational infrastructure, free and easy access should be given, clear use guidance should be there, risk management is handled properly, then retention policy should be there, long-term organizational sustainability should be there. Then under digital object management, the repository should allow to add that unique persistent identifier. It should contain all the type of metadata, and which enables the discovery, reuse, and citation. The repository should provide the expert curation and quality assurance, which improves the accuracy and integrity of the data set. It also describes the terms for reuse. It should have the mechanism of chain of custody, like say version control, uh, where if we have created multiple versions, then it should has that facility. Under the technology, it should support the authentication of data submitter. The repository should have the long-term management plan of management of data. It should have the features like security and integrity for preventing unauthorized access, and nobody can modify the data without any rights. Say now, the next is institutional repository and data repository. So there is a difference between institutional repository and data repository. In institutional repository, it is basically focusing on research articles, thesis and dissertation, conference papers and other academic materials which may not contain the data. It serves as a digital archive for the intellectual output for the institutions, faculty, student, and staff. Whereas research data repository is basically for storing and managing the research data sets, which also allows the sharing of the data sets. It also provides the researchers to deposit and discover the data sets, uh, and access the data sets which are available, right? And for institutional repository, the software being used to create IR is Dispace, ePrints, Fedora, Hydra, Drupal. Whereas for data repository, CCAN, DCAN, NADA, and Dataverse is being used. In nutshell, we can say that a research data repository serves as a centralized platform for storing, managing, and research data. It plays a crucial role in supporting open science initiative uh, by data preserving, data sharing, compliance with funding agencies. It also provides citation and recognition, management and discovery, security, and uh, privacy. Now, there are a few general purpose repository I'm giving as an example: Figshare, Zenodot, Ride, and there are data specific repositories are available, data.gov.in as I mentioned, ICSSR data service, that UK data service, ICPSR. Now, these are data specific repository, and somebody doesn't know whether the data repository is available across the world or in India for that discipline, then they can go to re3data.org and they can search over there. It is basically a tool that offers researchers and funding organizations, libraries and publishers an overview of existing international repositories of research data, wherein you can find the research data repository. There are 3,000 plus research data repositories are available. Anyone can go and search over there. That ends my presentation, and thanks a lot. Over to you, Hitesh.
Thank you, Divekant, for your wonderful presentation. Now, I would like to invite Sri Pallab Pradhan for next session. Uh, Sri Pallab Pradhan is working as a scientist C, library science, and his specialized area is research data management and bibliometrics analysis. So I would like to call him for next session on data management plan. Over to you, Pallav.
Thank you, Sritesh. Very good morning to all of you once again. Thank you. So, in the previous session, now what we saw from the and listened from Divekant is that he, elaborated in a proper way and provided an overview of what is research data, its types, open data and open science, RDM. He opened a lot many windows and facets and aspects of all this, RDM, research data management. So, there are so many things other than this also whatever he elaborated. So I'll just try to give you brief overview and systematically try to clear your doubts and give you more clarity on that part, specifically on data management and data access policy. Okay. So in this session, what I'll cover is these are the points, or you can say aspects I'll be covering. So what is data management plan? Briefly focusing, though Divekant has already taken, and benefits of data management plan, research data lifecycle, key elements. What are the key elements that should be there in a DMP, and what are the DMP tools that are available? Or you can say examples are available in the market or for the facility of from the provider. And then what are the data access policies that we already saw, the ICSR data service, ICSR data. They do have their own, as per their own institutional and organizational needs. And what are the key elements of data access policy? So basically, a data management plan is a formal document, is a key element of a good data management plan. And it is very much necessary to have a good data management plan to carry out any kind of research. So a data management plan is basically a formal document. Okay, it's that outlines normally as we do, we prepare something, some kind of things whenever we start something. So it's kind of basically a normal outlines how data will be handled throughout our research life cycle during the whole research project till initiation to its completion. So it typically includes all the details or information on how data will be collected, organized, stored, shared, and preserved. Okay, so in a nutshell, you can say it's a document that tells us that during our research project, how to go about our data, how to handle our data throughout, starting from conceptualizing our research to even and after end of our research, so that it will be available with the data is output itself, and next gen researcher may be benefited from that. So why data management plan? Because obviously we do have, if we go with that, many times blueprints or many other things we do have, but again these new things are coming up, that why we need a data management plan. So the basics requirements are these: that's fundamental mandates, transparency and reproducibility, data sharing and reuse, and preservation of research output. So the first to start with, it's the fundamental mandates. You may be knowing and you may be aware that nowadays a number of funding agencies, right, or like maybe basically I would say focusing on international perspective, international funding agencies like Wellcome Trust, National Institute of Health, Ford Foundation, almost all the international funding agencies, they require researchers to submit a data management plan as part of the research proposal for funding. When you are going to apply, let's say you are a research scholar or faculty member and you want to get a fund. When you are applying a fund, you need to submit this along with the proposal, DMP you need to submit. So it's not at the time of starting the research, but even at time of conceptualizing a research, and you have to prepare the data management plan. And it's being mandated by, as I said, all these well-known funding agencies. And it is basically to support your proposal, and also it is a way to recognize the importance of good research data practice that you are following in your research work while conducting your research, so that it will maximize the impact and sustainability of your research outcome. Because, and what the thing why they need it, like let's say if they fund you for something and you carry out your research, and after end of that, what will happen to that resource? If you have a data management plan, like how you are sharing your data, how you're depositing your data, and all these things. So let's say sustainability matters. So whatever you are doing, yours that should be available forever. Like, and the second important aspect is like transparency and reproducibility. So DMP obviously promotes transparency and reproducibility in the research. So it defines, a DMP defines and detects the terms and conditions under which your data will be accessible, okay, and understandable to other researchers. So if somebody, let's say, wants to reproduce your research findings, or even they want to verify your findings, if the data would be open, as the Vivekananda already told, data, open data repository, open data, all these things. So when this DMP also helps that how we are going to make your data open, how we are going to share. So if it is open, so that the data will be available to all, anybody can verify, anybody can see and look into that, whether any things are mistakes or any error in the data. So transparency will be there and reproducibility, and so is necessary for the proper research. And the third word is like data sharing and reuse. So DMP includes your future plans and policies for sharing your research data with other researchers, how you're going to share your data after or during the process. So your research data or research can be accelerated, or you can say may be reused, and some other research can build upon your existing data, which directly or you can say indirectly leads to collaborative and interdisciplinary research. When you are sharing your data, obviously next gen researcher from any other researcher that he would be or she would be doing same kind of research, he would be going through your data and all these things. So it will help to collaborate and build the same discipline or field as well. And as I normally say, it's my preferred topic. So I say, sharing is caring in a normal way. So if you are sharing your data, obviously you will get benefited. All the next researchers also will get benefited on that part. And preservation of research output. So as we all know, data is an asset. It's very important in academic sector. As we all know, we are involved in academics. And so it is a variable. The another three are like compliance with regulation and risk mitigation and efficiency and cost effectiveness. So our data, like research data, whatever we are generating, that should comply with the regulation like IPR, intellectual property rights, the funders' policies, and whoever is funding you. And these are the essential of things, that's aspects we need to consider for ethical and responsible conduct of research. And obviously a DMP, data management plan, helps in that aspect as well. Then risk mitigation. This is from IT point of view, we can say. So DMP helps us in risk mitigation. Let's say what I would say is like while creating a data or while conducting research, we plan for our data security, right? So what would be the backup procedure, data security aspects, everything we need to plan. And so that in that aspect, DMP helps us to mitigate the risks associated with the data loss, as well as unauthorized access to data access or data breaches. Okay. So it protects the confidentiality and integrity of research data, as is already discussed in the previous session as well by the Vivekananda. And lastly, it also increases your efficiency and cost effectiveness. How? Like DMP helps you to save the time and resources by reducing the need to recollect and reprocess the data. It helps you to streamline your workflows for data analysis and interpretation. So basically, you can say these are the 7 key factors one need to consider or can be considered as important aspects of DMP. It may differ as per your own need, but this is the key needs that you need to consider while writing a data management plan. Okay. So research data lifecycle has already been discussed as well. So by just going with a little brief. But the concept, is how to create data management plan. We're asking you, but how to create. So basically, it goes in line with the research data lifecycle, as we saw already. So research data lifecycle is a key concept in research data management. Okay, so it is the series of stages or steps, you can say, that research data goes through before, during, and after research project, right? And like this cycle involves, like you can say, creation of data, processing of data, analyzing, preserving, giving access. So these are the cycles they need to go through while conducting a research also. So this is, you can say, this is called a research data life cycle. So we'll see one by one. So first, creating data. So in this first step, what we will be doing is first you'll be designing your research, right? Further, you'll be planning data management, like what would be the format, how your data will be collected, where it will be stored, all these things, where it should be in RDMS or it should be in some type of different storage. and whether it should be raw data and like what. And after that, furthermore, at the time of creation of data, we also need to locate our existing data, like if we have done some kind of work earlier, or any other colleagues have done any work, or if any other work has also conduct, if some kind of research has been done, data is available, so that we can collect. Also, we can verify, so that its DMP or data management plan helps us to mitigate the time and efforts, right? So that we can verify. So after that, after doing all these things, data may be collected or can be from on different experiment, observation, measurement, or simulation, any from any things that can be collected. So basically, you are capturing the data, and along with that, you need to create the metadata after that. After creation of your data, you need to create the metadata for that specific data, so that the next gen researcher can be benefited through your metadata. And you need to provide consent that how you are going to share your data. You are going to provide consent. How we are going to so that you need to plan consent for sharing it. So processing of data. So here you are, entering data. You would be digitizing your data, and you will be checking, validating your data, cleaning if something wrong. Then anonymizing your data, like let's say personal information should not be shared of your respondents. It's like anonymization. Other details should not be shared. Like so many. So these are the things that should be avoided. Anonymization should be done to avoid privacy. Should not be disclosed. And you need to describe. Then here you need to manage and store your data. And analyzing data. So here, while analyzing, you need to interpret the data, right? You'll be applying certain formulas, you'll be applying certain statistical methods to derive the outcome, and you'll be producing the research output. And based on that, what you'll be doing is you will have some kind of publication after that. So here you are all, so your data will be with you, but publication will be published, but what will be the happen to data? So that is the need where your data repository requires, so that your data will be submitted. So their preservation of data. Okay. So here at this stage, the data should also be prepared for preservation. After you, and while preserving, here preserving means we have to migrate the data to be best suitable format. What we were doing is, old ages, let's say 3-4 decades ago, somebody has created some in different databases like Flow or something like, and now you want to process the data. You right now say tools are not available to process those kind of data. So while selecting the format, you have to describe this data should be interpreted or stored in this way that it can be it should be interoperable in a proper way, so that it will be beneficial for the next gen. And then you need to archive that in that proper format. Then you need to decide if that giving access, how you're going to provide access or facilitate access to your data for the better sharing, proper sharing. So basically, what you have done so far is like you have created the data, you have processed the data, you have analyzed the data, and you have preserved the data. Now it's time to give the data to others, like facilitating access of the data. So here you'll have to specify whom you are going to access or facilitating access to that data, whether it should be within your organization or outside, and whether it should be closed or whether it should be open. Reusing data. So at this point, let's say our resource is almost over, and it is time to reuse the data. So here reusing means a follow-up resource based on the same data, or there may be an entirely new aspect based on already collected data. So here reuse for other, like who would be doing user reusing. So there may be research or review of your data. There may be scrutinization of your findings, and obviously data. This data can be used for teaching and learning. So it can be used for assignments or exploring new aspects of research by other researchers and other colleagues also. So data management plan, as I already said, So based on the research data lifecycle or research data aspects, or the 7 or 8 aspects that we saw, we have to create a data management plan that should be including all the aspects. That should pass us through all the stages of research data lifecycle, right? The 7 stages that I discussed. So now coming to the data management plan, the first is planning and design. So here, before starting your research project, you have to prepare a DMP, and this should also identify the research objective and data requirements. And then after, you have to also mention the data collection methods, right? How you are going to collect the data, ensuring quality and validity. And the third part is like data organization and documentation. So your data analysis part is a part like how you are going to analyze your data using which techniques and methods, whether it is quantitative or qualitative. Then you have to mention your policies that about data sharing and publication. That this should, also includes the ethical and legal consideration here. As I said, here, rules and responsibilities. You need to compliance, abiding by the legal and other things, copyright issues of the funding agencies, your institutional needs, and others. Also, you have to specify once your resource is completed, where you are going to host your data, whether any particular platform like open data repository or any centralized or any closed or your institutional data repository, or your website, and this will also cover the data preservation and archiving and other things, and data reuse and reports, right? So all this, you can say the 7 aspects, the same way the DMP is there, data lifecycle, the same way you need to cover all these aspects in your DMP. I'll show you, if time will permit, for DMP tool, one tool is there, DMP tool, how the DMP is there, you can create. So once all the 7 points will be considered covered, you can say, so you have to also mention, as I said, you need to compliance the legal rules, compliance legal aspects regarding data, like different disciplines they do have, like HIPAA or something. So policies and responsibilities are very much important to sustain any kind of things, because they are the guidelines also, you can say, to promote. So these are the online tools you can go through. You can create a report to DMP for your own research project. You can have anyone you can try DMP tools or DMP online, all these things. These are the tools available. So this is just a screenshot how you can DMP write plan. So this is DMP plan. So these are all the necessary aspects: data collection, documentation, and metadata. As we already discussed all these things, right? So you can go through and you can check with the DMP tool. Just put in Google. You can go through to the site and you can create by creating your own ID and password. So data access policy. So this is nothing but a set of guidelines that dictates, how data can be accessed, used, and shared within an organization or among authorized parties. So it defines the procedures, and controls the necessary things to ensure that sensitive and or confidential information is appropriately handled and protected. Of that anonymization, as I was telling, you need to protect your respondents' information, personal information, their address, name, whatever as per their wish, like and as per your organizational requirement, you need to protect things. So these are the components, key components: access control, data classification, authentication, and authorization, data sharing and transfer. Right. So basically, what I'm talking about, the data access policies, like let's say when your organization is going to share the research data, all the research output which has been done through various projects, that should be bought on a single platform, which is accessible organizational wide or publicly. And so the first and foremost is the access control, which will specify who will have access to your data, or basically certain types of data if you are categorizing data. So this access will be based on the second point, like data classification. as I was telling, the types of data. So like generating data, I'll be categorizing. So it may be a restriction access confidence with as openly available, restricted, or some part will be available. So it differs as for your own and security. So both things should be specified. And apart from that, authorization and authentication, like who are the authenticated users to download the data, who are the authenticated users to only see the data or see the only metadata, authenticated users to see your data, access your data. Based on that, you can, based on the technology, how you are going to share the data sharing and transfer. Okay. So whether you are going to transfer or make it for based on any kind of agreement you are asking from your you'll be asking your users so that they'll be filling the form or any kind of submission of any kind of ID so that they get access. It depends on your organizational needs, the researcher point of view. You can decide on that part. Then data usage policy, and this policy also includes that disclaimer like defines that acceptable use of data within the organization, including restriction and copying, modifying, and distributing data without proper identification. And when you host your data somewhere, let's say, and when you are giving access to your data, obviously it should be monitored and audited. And so this policies, data access policies, this aspect of policy defines like so how the data access activities will be monitored and audited to ensure compliance with the policies. So this can include login access logs, conducting a regular security assessment, and investigating suspicious activities if something is happening, hacking or other things like. And last but not the least, like training and awareness. It is the training and awareness, which typically ensures so that the researchers, so the users should be very much aware of their responsibilities regarding data access and security while accessing such kind of data repository where confidential data are available. And this may evolve also like by providing training on data handling procedures, security best practices, and consequences of policy violations. So basically, a data access policy is an organizational-wide policy that takes care of all these 7 aspects that we discussed in these 2 slides of this data produced by institutions. Yes, obviously, it cannot be confined to it will be asking a sample or specific format. No, there is no format. Like, but as per your organizational needs, as per your own research project needs, as per your own funding agency needs, you can plan that data access policy. That's what based on your requirement itself. So examples of many data access policy, many are there. Like you can go through ICSS data policy, data.gov.in, and we do have so many policies are available. I was conducting research and around 37 policies are available from the government of India ministries, specifically on ministries. 37 policies are there. You can go through on different policies. It is you can say one MOSPI is there, and ICSSR is there. They do have their own policies based on their own requirements, institutional requirements, organizational requirements. Yes, so you can go with that. I'm just not named all that. So just given data access policy. You can go through ICSSR data access policy also. So, and based on all the aspects that we discussed, the RDF, research data life cycle, the 7 aspects, the aspects from the DMP data management plan, the 7 aspects. These all policies includes all the things. This data access and deposit policies includes all the aspects in a proper way based on their own institutional needs. That is the main thing I want to convey. Okay, so this is the end of my presentation. Thank you. So, Hitesh, over to you. Any questions we'll take it later on.
Yeah, please. Thank you for an insightful presentation on data management plan, and all the 4 sessions question will be taken at the end of the all 4 session. So now I would like to invite Dr. Mitesh Kumar Pandya to present, to take a session on persistent identifier and research data repository. And Dr. Mitesh Kumar Pandya is currently working as a NFSU, Gandhinagar. Before joining to the National Forensic Science University, Gandhinagar, he was served as a scientist C, Library Science in Implement Center for a period of 10 years. So I would like to call Dr. Mitesh Kumar Pandya for an up next session.
Now I'll be talking about role of persistence identifiers and research data in research data repositories. Now basically I'll be presenting this on behalf of the data site, which is one of the agency we are now representing. Influment is representing because Influment has got project from data site and under which we are conducting all these programs. So this presentation is shared by the Mr. Mohammed to front of all participants. Now, so basically, this is in the form of like how do I become a data site ambassador? How I can spread a word about data site? What all things are there? What all things are offered by the data site? So that is what I mean to do. So being a data site ambassador, what I can do is I can support my community in different ways. I can conduct training programs, outreach activities, multilingual educational resources. It can be prepared under this initiative. Then we can gather the feedback about data site. We can get the guidance and support from the data site members, and we can build the community. Okay, now what are the persistent identifiers? So the persistent identifier is something which is known as a unique alphanumeric string that is referred to a particular digital resource. Now, if you, when you say DOI, DOI has something alphanumeric started with the prefixes https:// doi.org/ that particular identifier, okay, for a resource. And if you look at the right side, you can say it is the original source where it is pointed out or redirected. Now, what kind of PIDs are available? So every type of, like say for example, the way you have your other ID is a unique identifier for your getting benefits of all government and all other benefits. Now, the way you are going for this, see, now if you look at the identifiers, if you go for the individual researchers identifier, you have this two, ISNI and ORCID identifier. You must be aware about it. And if you go for the research organizations or institutions, you will be finding research organization repository, which is known as a ROR registry ID. Okay, for the research outputs, we have two different agencies who are granting the DOIs. If you look at the journal articles, then Crossref is there, and for all other material, data site is there. What is data site? So data site is basically a global community that shares the common interest, and the research outputs or research which is generated from the public fund is available on open domain, and data site is one of the advocate for making the open science popular in front of all scientific community. So this is that data site is saying that the all output which is available through public fund should be available in the public domain without any restrictions. So what they are doing is they work for the open science, and one of the aspect of open science is open research data. So as a community, what they do is they make research more effective with metadata that connects research outputs and resources from samples and images to the data and preprints. Okay, it is a not-for-profit organization established registered in the Germany since 2009. Now the community, if you look at the total spread of worldwide, it is a network of 3,000 plus repositories. It is spread over 52 different countries, and 58 million plus DOIs have been granted, and around 1,400 organizations are part of data site. Now, what types of research outputs it indexes? So data site DOIs are suitable for wide range of research outputs. Research outputs, I mean to say that the research data sets, collections, associated workflows, software, images, models, dissertations, reports, unpublished conference papers, newsletters, preprints, technical standards, all kind of research output. Okay, that gives the DOI for all types of research output. So the types of research in DataSite Fabrica. DataSite Fabrica is one of the portal that helps us to understand how the DOIs can be managed with the DataSite. So these are the statistics as in October 23. Data sets are, these many data sets are available. Physical objects are available. Text, videos, images, journal articles are also available. Okay. Now, if you look at the data sets for DOI, so this is the National Research Council of Thailand, which has adopted the DataSite DOI for the data set. Okay, so this is the data set for which the DOI is generated and DOI is assigned. So it becomes a unique identifier for a particular data set. If you look at the reports, it can be given. This is the institutional repository of NUS libraries, University of Singapore, and the link or the identifier is given here. Okay. So then DOI for thesis and dissertations. So this is a doctoral thesis, and the link for the DOI is generated for through DataSite DOI. Is this? Okay, now they are also giving DOIs for the software. So once it is available in the public domain, that software is assigned a DOI. DOI for images. So this is the particular figure image for which DataSite has assigned a DOI. Okay. DOIs help us to improve the visibility and discoverability. It enhances the accessibility of the research output, and it makes the research data sets compliant with the FAIR principles, findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. It obtains the recognition from all the research outputs beyond the journal article. It increases the impact and citation. Then it provides the connection between different research outputs and resources with the global ecosystem. So if you look at the, say for example, we have the Shodhaganga. Now Shodhaganga hosts thesis and dissertations. Now say for example, if there is a related data set which is available in the NRDR, and we would like to connect it, cross connection. So that is also possible if we give DOI to both the Shodhaganga as well as the this one. So and then we can create link between two different resources, even though one is a thesis and another is an output of that particular thesis. So that can be hosted in some data repository. So next is how to connect the research. Find and connect the research. So basically for works, DataSite and Crossref is there. For people or researchers, ORCID ID is there or ISIN is there. Then for organization, ROR ID is there. And this is a PID graph that shows that how many DOIs have been generated from different connections. Okay, the funders, data sets, publications, number of people, I mean to say researchers, then organizations. Okay, so this is the graph which shows that how it is interlinked and connected. Now, how do you find the data set? So there is a platform called DataSite Commons. So if you go to DataSite Commons and search for some data set, you will be able to see the metadata as well as abstract and the link of the particular database data set to the original source. Okay, now if you look at this data is available in this metadata is available in DataSite Common, but the data is stored in the Dryad repository. Okay, so this is how it works, and this is the platform which gives metadata level information on DataSite Common platform. Now it brings the citation to the surface. How many times that particular thing has been cited, a particular data set has been cited, that can be visible here. Okay, and there is one more initiative of DataSite which is known as a make data count. it supports the recognition, the number of citations, how many citations you are receiving. See here, how many times it is viewed, how many times it is downloaded, and how many times it is cited. These all citations and related statistics can be visible if you opt for the DataCite DOI. Then next is organizations and citations as well as use. So if you look at the World Agroforestry Center, this is the name of organization. How many total number of works have been submitted? 2915. Out of 2915, 29 citations have been received, and 1116 views for different works is noted, and then 262 downloads has happened. Okay, so this is the statistics derived from the DataCite common platform. Okay, this is the demo. Like we say, how you can retrieve the DOI metadata. So the moment you give the DOI, particular DOI ID, and give the format, then you will get the citation. Okay, this is the platform citation.crosssite.org, from where you can get the citation. Now, talking about a DataCite membership, there are different things we have to understand. There's a direct member, consortium member, and individual repository. For different repositories also, you can become a member. So if you look at this direct member, this type of member supports DataCite's mission and is an organization that works with the one or more repositories. So for example, if we have in Shodhganga, we have the repository, thesis repository. Then another institutional repository is there in InfluBNet, which is known as IR at InfluBNet. So what we can do is we can bring multiple repositories. It may be data repository, it may be institutional repository, or it may be, for that example, any other software or repository that can be assigned the DOI under this direct membership. Okay, now the consortium. Consortium means a group of like-minded organizations that have come together to collectively participate in DataCite's community and governance activities to use the DataCite DOI services. So for example, InfluBNet Center is there, and the number of universities are part of InfluBNet. So InfluBNet can lead the consortium, and under the InfluBNet, say for example, there are number of universities or IITs. If you take an example of IIT, one IIT has a different repositories that can become a part of that. So in one consortium organization, there are multiple repositories. Okay, and then another consortium organization has a one repository with multiple repositories, and this all can be led by the consortium organization. So this is just an example. So there is a consortium membership fees available. You can go for the membership inquiry if you would like to opt for the DataCite membership for this all DOI generation and all. So how do you register a DOI? So create and manage DOIs. That is a platform which is known as a Fabrica, and the interface is available. You can go to that Fabrica and you can link your data repository along with the Fabrica interface, and then you can generate the DOIs. So this is the platform, DataCite Fabrica. It gives you, it provides a tool to create, manage, and find DOIs and metadata. It also generates the statistics on DOI related activities. It also checks the link and maintains the organization information. How you can join the community? There are 3,000 plus repositories are available, and most of the repositories, if you look at the statistics, these many data sets are already granted. These statistics are downloaded sometime back in the 2023. Okay, so I think December 2023. So if you look at this, these were the statistics. So if you look at the number of repositories, see the repositories are more than 3,000, and the altogether all the data sets, physical objects, text, images, and other documents as per the list given here, these are indexed in the DataCite Fabrica platform. Okay, so majority of the people are using DSpace for repository software. Okay, then other Dataverse, Invenio, ePrint, CCAN, all this software being used. Now, being a data site community, you can be a part of the uh, meetings and regular events that are taking place to make them aware, make the community aware about what all things are happening, how many initiatives they have taken, what kind of things they are doing. That all information is passed on to all the members. So, and they regularly conduct webinar for all the activities that are happening in the data site and in and around the world related to uh, open science and the entire ecosystem of the open science. They keep on continuing conducting the conferences, webinars, and different types of events and all. Okay, thank you very much for your patience, and I'm sorry to have this some connection related issues. If you have any questions at the end, I'll be able to answer. Thank you.
Now I would like to call Mr. Dinesh Ranjan Pradhan. He is working as a scientist lead, and he will take session on National Research Data Repository. Over to Dinesh.
Thank you, Hitesh. Good afternoon to all. So now, since my colleagues have already described so much about research data repository and how to manage your research data. So now the important next aspect is how to have your research data stored in a data repository. So there are many data repositories that are available, like different publishers, they have different data repository, or even the general data repository has already been described by previous presentations. So now I'll just give you a brief about our new initiative that we are going to have. That is the National Research Data Repository, which we are going to come up with. So in this National Research Data Repository, we are hopeful to have the research data that are generated by different institutions from India that can be preserved and that can be shared across the globe through this research data repository. So what is the basic framework of this National Research Data Repository? So basically we are now still in the working policy making stage. So we have prepared some policies how the National Research Data Repository will operate, and how people can submit the data and how it can be made available to different stakeholders. So in this National Research Data Repository, basically there are two aspects. One is from the point of view of the institutions, like who will be the stakeholder in this research data repository, and another aspect is the users who can share their data, and also the general user who can explore the data and access and reuse the data. So from the point of view of institutions, any institutions that would like to share that research data that is generated from their institutes, they can share through this platform, and they have to submit those data in a National Research Data Repository that we are going to have. And for that, basically they have to sign a MOU with the InfluNet for sharing their data. And we're also preparing the different guidelines and policy frameworks which they have to adopt before signing a MOU with InfluNet, how the research data should be shared, or what should be policy for their institutional users who are going to generate those research data, how they can share it, and what should be the access policy or access rights. So those kind of policy they have to frame at their institute level. And if you talk about the users level, so we have a very good interface about that is based on the Dataverse software. So through that software, they can easily search and browse the resources, and they can view what are the metadata and how to access it and how they can reuse it. And also we have some data visualization tools also embedded into those portal. So now let me go to this structure of the national data repository. Basically, it is since it is based on a software called Dataverse. So that basically the software has the provision where we can have a different collections of where individual institutions have their own data set or Dataverse repositories. And again, in the collections, they can have the individual specific data sets that they want to share. So again, in that Dataverse, what the national data repository model we are proposing here. So in that repository model, basically people can directly submit or institutions, they can directly submit their research data into this national research data repository, or they can set up a Dataverse instance at their individual institutions, and this repository will harvest all those metadata and create a link to the specific Dataverse repository that is available with the individual institutions. So what are the key features for this repository? So like I said, so there will be a separate, the national research data repository, that will be the main repository, where there will be a subset or sub Dataverse kind of thing that are known as, like I have in the previous slide, it is mentioned as collections. So individual institutions, they will be the administrator for all those institution specific Dataverse, and even the institution specific Dataverse instance that can be also customized with their logo and CSS, all those kind of customizations. And under that parent Dataverse also, they can create sub Dataverse, like if someone wants to have a data set repository for the thesis submitted, they can have a sub Dataverse of the data set for the thesis. Or if they have some research publication, and for those research publications they want to have a subset, so similarly they can create multiple sub collection under the main Dataverse that will be provided to individual institutions. The administrator of that specific institutions, they can manage those sub Dataverse collections. So they have to basically, the whoever is the Dataverse administrator, they have to submit their data sets along with the metadata into the repository. So there is a well-defined procedure available. For that, will be I'll be showing the screenshots in the later slides. And regarding the deposit of data sets, this Dataverse instance, basically the National Research Data Repository, it supports different file format that are popular, like CSV, TSV, or Excel, or even popular statistical softwares like RData or SPSS or any other softwares. So those kind of any of these kind of file format are supported by this. And again, so once they submit the data, the users, individual users and the institutions, they can also get the usage statistics, how the each data set is used, if someone has downloaded or viewed. So those kind of data set report will also be available from this National Research Data Repository. So now this is how the basic homepage of the National Research Data Repository looks like. So it will be, there are options like, once you go to the repository, you can view how many data sets are available in this repository and how many downloads are there. And again, if there are, like I said, there will be multiple sub instance or sub Dataverse or collections kind of thing. So those are also available here. Like there are 11 Dataverse in this screenshot available. So similarly, all those people who will be signing up for this National Research Data Repository, those will be listed under this sub Dataverses. So one can go to browse those individual institute specific Dataverse instance also. So once someone goes for access, it's open for everybody. But once they want to go to the create database or register the data set, they have to come up with a login interface where they can log in with the username password that is provided by the Dataverse instance from our end, or we have also options to integrate with Google authentication or GitHub authentication or even the institutional authentication, where it can be done through the Shibboleth based authentication method. Now, coming to the search interface, if you go to the search interface, or once you click on the datasets that are available, we'll be having you'll get the information about what are the different datasets that are available on the specific repository. And here you can also see what is the current status of that dataset, whether it is published or it's a draft. So those kind of information are available. And along with that, there is a DOI assigned, like the prefix, like my previous colleague explained, the doi.org/a prefix. And here we have provided a prefix like nrdr/xhttp. So this is how the DOIs are also
second
into the National Research Data Repository. So once you click on the record, you can view the details of that record. And so the basic citation information also is provided here, so that when you are reusing that data set, so that it can be cited in your research paper or any other place. So how to create basically a dataverse? So those are basically created under the main dataverse, that will be the National Research Data Repository. So under that collection, you can have your specific institution's name, or like university name or college name or research institution's name. So under that, the dataverse will be created, and the nodal officer for that sub dataverse will be assigned from our end. So for that, the institute, after signing the MOU, they have to provide, allocate a person who will be the nodal officer for that project. So that person can be able to log in and manage their individual dataverse. So individual dataverse also will be having a specific identifier with a identifier suffix like nrdr/implement/ a specific code for that institution. So those kind of options will be there. So they can also provide the category under which they are submitting their research data, and the individual institutions, they have provided description of the dataverse collection. What is the data set that they are uploading on that specific National Research Data Repository. So here is a screenshot about how to create a sub dataverse or a dataverse for a institute, host institute. Like you can see, we have taken a test instance here. So here in the identifier section, there will be a specific identifier provided for each dataverse instance or institute instance. So after that, the institute details and all those detail has to be filled here. So whenever a individual institute is maintaining their dataverse, they can also similarly create their own instance, and they can have multiple sub dataverse created on the repository. Now, once they create the sub dataverse or a repository, there will be an option how to what are the metadata fields, or what are the specific data they want to upload in that in that dataverse instance, or the or their specific sub collection. So here you can see, like there are different type of research data that in the previous presentation you have come out, like geospatial data or astronomy data or life science data. So there are many different type of data are generated by different group of scientists. So based on the subject area, the standard for the metadata also varies. So that this dataverse instance, they provide the different options how to fill out the different, like for geospatial data, you have to have the longitude, latitude information, those kind of information. Or in case of astronomy or astrophysics metadata, there are some specific standard for those. So those can be customized here. What are the, based on the type of dataverse you are creating, and based on the data type you are going to submit in those data repository. Once you go to the create the data set, then the user can upload the research data set. For that, first they have to put on the basic information about what is the title of the data set they are going to upload, what is the who is the author, what is the affiliation, if there is any identifier available like ORCID and all those kind of identifier. So they can also add those kind of link those identifier. So these are the provision of linking those kind of identifier also, so that you can easily link to your web page or your personal ORCID instance. Now the contact information, the individual user has to submit the contact information area. So basically the subject area is the broad subject area. Like I have, in the previous slide, I have given the social science, astronomy, or those kind of subject area you can assign so that people can easily browse based on the subject area. So once you add all those information, also you can add the keywords and the related publication. Like you already have a publication published somewhere, and for that publication you are going to add some citation. You are going to upload the data set that you have made a survey or some other lab instrument through which you have generated some data. Based on that, you have created those research paper. Okay, so those kind of citations you can provide here. What is the actual publication for which you are uploading the research publication, and what is the deposit date, or there are any other notes are available. So once you fill all those basic informations, so then you'll get an option to add the files. So you can add the file into the repository. So that is basically the how one can upload the metadata. And from the perspective of a Dataverse administrator, when the institute has a Dataverse administration, they can also define what are the roles that they can define, how people can use there, and they can also create another person who can be able to contribute, like someone will be having the rights to upload the metadata, and the admin will be only verifying all those data, and the admin will be publishing those metadata. Before that, it will be in the draft stage. So those kind of role permissions can be also assigned. So this Dataverse has the provision for this kind of contributor roles assignment. So if you are creating multiple users for your institute, that can also be possible, so that individual user can upload the data set and someone will be verifying those data sets. And after that, someone else will be publishing those data set, will be the admin of that individual institutions. So these are the default roles that are available through for a Dataverse user. Also, institutions, they can have their own customized roles where they can restrict what kind of rights they can assign to a specific user. So those like they can, how they can view and all those kind of information. So they can have all those kind of permission. They can define whether one can view the data set or not. So those kind of roles they can create for their individual data set. Now, I mean, the key features of the NRDL, like already I have explained in the previous in the starting. So we can search based on the Dataverse category, publication year, author name, subject, keyword, whatever the metadata that we have provided during uploading of that data set. So those kind of through those kind of area, you can search your record, and you can filter out also, like for a specific year you want to search, or for a specific subject area you want to search. So those kind of filter are also available. Even in the Dataverse options, there is also data viewer and data visualization tools available, where you can use the data visualization tool, inbuilt tool that is available for basic analysis of the data. So, and again, like the previous discussion, we have you can have a persistent identifier in terms of DOI assignment for each data set. So this Dataverse has a provision where you can directly submit the metadata to the data site, and you can integrate with data site directly, so that it will assign the DOI, and the metadata will be automatically submitted to the data site portal. Now this is a test phase what we have created. Like we have uploaded some sample data, and we have grouped in different subject areas. So one can browse the different subject area once people will start uploading. So here whatever screenshot you are viewing, so those are we have given some sample data for demonstration purpose. But once the initiative will be launched, so original dataset will be uploaded, and this will be removed. So like you can see there are sub dataset, like we have created education dataset or computer science dataset, and again some sub dataverse like NIRF dataverse. So this kind of sub dataverse also can be created, and after that also you can view how many are deposited, how many records are harvested, how many records are downloaded. So those kind of activity tracking are also available on this Dataverse portal. So like I said, this is how another data set that we have uploaded in the test instance. So you can see the descriptions of the detail, and also like this one is harvested from another data set. So it is showing like it is harvested from some sources, and these are the different sub dataverse or sub collections per individual institution. So whoever will be joining the National Research Data Repository, so those institutions will be seen like this. It will be listed all those institutions, and when they are what is the basic description of their institution, what are the data set they are submitting. And this is how it looks like for a specific data set. Like so you can also click on this site dataset options, where it will show in different formats like API or other format, so that you can cite properly on your per reuse. And also it gives download statistics about the specific dataset. Now, like I said, so this has also options for some visualizations tool. So you can see here the visualization tool is also available in the right side. If you go to click on this visualization tool, you will get the option to analyze that data. And this download option is available also. If, like this one is a tab delimited file. So if you want to download in a tab delimited format, it will be downloaded. And if you want to download as a R data format, it will also convert and download in that format. And also like the data explorer I said, you can use the data explorer to view the exploring option about the data, what is the original data, and get the analysis of that data. And this is the basic citation information associated with that research data. And from this citation metadata options also, you can download the metadata file in different format. This has options like JSON format or OAI format or Open AIRE format or schema.org, even the DDI format or data site format. So those formats are available. So once you enter the data in the Dataverse, so you can export the metadata into other format also, or for any like someone else want to harvest your metadata, they can take one of these options to harvest your metadata. So each data set also has a terms that will say what is the terms of usage, whether it is CC0 or it is a CC by or CC by LC. So those terms can also be defined, so that someone when someone is going to use that research data, so they can see whether they can upload it in any other portal, or what else they can do with that research data. So these are so this functionality also available in that Dataverse instance, so that you have to define under which license term you are releasing this data set. And another important aspect is the it has a options to maintain different versions of the data set. So once you like you can see there are 4 versions are available for a data set. So once the first file is uploaded, if you in subsequent times whenever you upload the file, automatically a new version of the file is created, and it is automatically marked as second version or third version or fourth versions. So you can have this version control of the data set that you are uploading in the data set also. So like you can see, so this is the different version information. So that's all from my side about National Research Data Repository. So over to you, Hitesh.
Thank you, Dinesh, for excellent presentation on various key features for researcher as well as institute coordinator about the National Research Data Repository. And before taking a question and answer session, I would like to inform you all participants about the next upcoming regional training program on research data management. So InfluentNet Center is going to organize 6 different regional training program across the country, and probably it would be arranged in month of November only. And first regional training program for central region, we have already announced on RDM outreach portal as well as InfluentNet website, and it is going to be held at Aishar Bhopal. And next for Western region, it will be announced in collaboration with IGIDR Mumbai. For South region, it will be announced in collaboration with Central University of Tamil Nadu. For Northern region, it would be arranged at Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. Eastern region, it will be arranged at IIT Bhubaneswar, and the last northeastern region at Nehru Shillong. So I request to all participants, those who are interested to join one-day awareness program on research data management at respective places, please register with proper nomination letter from your reporting officer or higher authority of the institute. It may be either head of the department, dean, registrar, vice chancellor, or librarian, and request to register with nomination letter for respective. It would be arranged, first program arranged at Aishar Bhopal on November 16th, and rest of the would be arranged in 21st November to probably November 30th. So please visit our website and try to register over there. Now, I already responded all the questions which are available in chat box. Anyone out of which anyone you would like to ask any question, please you may ask Dr. Ramesh.
Yes, sir.
Those, yeah, please, sir. You feel free to ask the question.
Sir, thank you, sir, giving the opportunity. I am from Andhra Pradesh. I am working as a librarian in Ramchandra Engineering College. Sir, my question is, it is a very good content which we have provided the different people, different aspects. But we are in the far away of the Gandhinagar InfluentNet Center. Please kindly arrange within AP or Tamil Nadu one regional center. We are participate in the directly. We can't. We are in the far away. Means the Gandhinagar is very longer than us. So please kindly one regional center available in our AP, Andhra Pradesh, sir. Is my request. It's my request, sir.
Sir, are you asking about InfluentNet services or this
regional center, sir? Regional center.
Regional center for InfluentNet Center?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm asking you, sir. Because
So
of the,
I
sir,
convey your message to our director. I
Sir,
convey your message to our director.
Sir, AP, Telangana, we are in the far away than the Gandhinagar. How can we come there.
Sir,
We have a
please ask
sir.
question about this webinar content.
Okay, okay. Sir, webinar is content is very good. It is a data site is the first time I hear this topic also. So it is very useful to me for my individual growth as well. In my institutional right, I create my database individually. I asked sir one question also about I can create my college database. I am working in the engineering college. Sir, I can create in it will create. I can create my college database. Is possible or not?
Thank you, sir, for your feedback, and your message will be conveyed to our director. And as far as concerned about webinar, uh, if you want to uh, get more knowledge in depth, you please attend at any one-day awareness program on RDM going to be scheduled at Central University of Tamil Nadu. And all recordings, previous 4 webinar recordings are available on the RDM outreach portal. Same, this webinar recording also after some editing portion will be uploaded on this registration portal. So please, you may get it over from there. And certificate also will be available in your dashboard where you registered.
So, sir, my question is, I can create my college database in Interpret. Is there any possible?
Sir,
Means my college output, research output.
yes, sir. Sir, that will be available once, already we have mentioned in the presentations. So the individual institutions, they have to sign an MOU with the Implement Center. After that, those database will be created and it will be available.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Do you any charge collected, sir?
No charge.
Free of cost. Maybe.
We'll provide a platform to host a data set which is contributed by your faculty member and researcher.
Okay.
As of now, there is no charge. Now it depends on the policy. Okay, but since we are providing the platform for open data, it would not be any charge for that. And it will be decided by higher authority later stage. As of now, there is no charge.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, please.
Sir, I have one question. Basically, I'm from Bharati Vidyapit and we are from off campus. So, when we are going forward for any MOU with Inflibinet, can we go ahead with our own institute or we need to go through the university level?
For which MOU?
For the MOU which you have just explained about the depository which we can create. Yes, yes, yes.
So it will be MOU between a particular institute and Inflibinet Center only.
Okay, because we are affiliated from Bharati Vidyapit and we are based, Vidyapit is in Pune and we are based in Navi Mumbai. And in Navi Mumbai, basically as off campus for the management.
Okay.
So it will be an individual basis.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I would like to propose a formal vote of thanks for all my speakers for today's session. So I am very much grateful to all my speakers, to Mr. Divekant, Mr. Pallav Pradhan, Dr. Mitesh Kumar Pandya, and Sri Dinesh Ranjan Pradhan for conducting wonderful session on for this webinar, as well as I am very much thankful to all my esteemed participants. I hope you enjoyed all 4 sessions with the insightful information about the research data management and data management plan and data site persistent URL and insightful demonstration on research data, National Research Data Repository. So I hope you enjoy all the sessions and thank you very much to all my team members who supported directly and indirectly to organize this webinar. And the last webinar is already announced. It will be registration is open for it will be or scheduled on November 14th. November 14th, you may register over there from RDM Outreach portal. So thank you very much.